Hey everybody, and welcome to Payday, a Pokemon podcast. It is the month of May, and my name is Tom. I'm joined as always by Matt.
Hey guys, how's it going?
And we've got a very special guest. We've got a returning guest that we haven't had on the podcast in just a little over a year. We've got Anna.
Hey everybody. You probably knew me as Tanner on this podcast, but things have happened in the last year. They're all excellent. Way better than what's going on in the world right now, I can tell you that.
Man, it's such a crazy time. Back in our March episode, we recorded and we were like, oh, we're stuck inside, but hopefully next month we'll be, together to record the next episode. And this is like the third episode that we've had to do separately. It's so strange.
You guys are, I know that Tom listens to my Hero Academia podcast, and you're about to enter the stretch where our pre-recordings hit the pandemic. So get ready for us being cautiously optimistic and that slowly descending into madness every week.
Yeah, so Anna, formerly of Blastburn Radio, and are currently the host of One for All podcast. I've been really enjoying listening to One for All at the moment because of the fact that you guys are kind of like, you're recording further ahead. So like when I listened to some of the episodes, like especially back in March and early April, like there was a lot of talk about things from way before the quarantine, and it was just like I was getting these little moments where I was just kind of like walking my dog and I was listening to the podcast and I was like, oh, I remember that time. It was nice.
The things before the world crisis.
Yeah, it's crazy. Like I was editing an episode where we were like, I wonder what 2020 is going to be like. And I was like, good Lord.
Yeah. I think you had such high hopes and you were like so optimistic about 2020. And I was like, oh buddy.
No one saw this coming.
No, really, really did not. So yeah, get ready for the pandemic train for the next 8 to 12 episodes, probably.
Oh man, I'm sure. So, what have you been up to during the quarantine? Have you been keeping busy?
During the quarantine, I have been very busy, actually. That might sound surprising, but I don't know if I mentioned this last time I was on, but I run a small company, an art studio that produces art and music for role-playing games, and specifically for virtual tabletops like Roll20 or Astral VTT. And with everybody being stuck inside because of what's going on, gaming, which happens around the table normally, has moved to a virtual table space. So business quadrupled in a month.
Wow.
Which is great
for you. Yeah.
But it's also super stressful because all of a sudden I got to really like crank up production and turn around. And granted, I have the time. I'm home, which is great. But at the same time, it was very unexpected.
Yeah, I can imagine. I mean, it's such a perfect time to be getting into stuff like tabletop role playing, like nowadays.
Oh, it absolutely is. Not just because it's a fun hobby that's really enjoyable, but because we are living in a very dark time right now in this particular moment in history, not just with COVID, but with world politics and so many other things. Role-playing is an opportunity to escape all that and take on the role of a character in a fictional universe where you feel like you can make a difference and you get to see the results of those actions within the story. The sense of agency you get in a world where you can actually accomplish something easily and with friends versus what we're experiencing IRL right now is a balm for a lot of people. And if you have the opportunity to find a table to play with, I highly recommend it as a cathartic kind of exercise during the pandemic.
I couldn't agree more. Matt and I have been kind of dabbling a little bit with some tabletop role-playing games. We've been doing it kind of like this over Skype, and we've just been we've been trying this one called Space Kings, which was a made-up one by a guy called Kevin from a podcast called Pretend Friends. And it's basically like a very basic and entry-level role-playing tabletop RPG game where you use just a pack of cards, and you basically have to like use your character sheet to work out how many cards you flip for each action, and if you get like a ace or a face, it counts as a success. But if you get the Joker, then it's like a kind of like it adds like a spin to it, like a kind of like wishing on a monkey's paw kind of concept. So like you do succeed, but this happens, and it ends up just becoming such a mess of crazy outcomes.
That sounds really interesting.
It's really fun. It was so easy to pick up and so quick, and yeah, it's been good, but it's been all kinds of crazy. It's been good fun though.
No, that sounds really cool. There are so many great systems today. As the hobby has blown up over the last decade, and interest has really like surged. There's a lot of different people making new games and new products, and some of them are absolutely so fucking creative. I'm sorry, am I allowed to swear here?
Yeah.
Oh, we do all the time. It's fine.
You fucking swear away, man. Yeah.
Okay. I honestly couldn't remember, and I immediately felt bad. I have a terrible, terrible potty mouth.
Same. I think we never set out to make this a swearing podcast, but like Matt and I just like we accidentally just blurt out swear words without meaning to, and then we're like, let's just make it natural.
I can't help it. I'm just really bad.
Yeah.
Well, I'm glad that I'm not alone.
I've been really wanting to do a Pokemon tabletop RPG. Especially, I love BBR Adventures. I really loved that system that you guys had. Was that made by you?
Yeah, so it's based off of Powered by the Apocalypse's like Simple World system. So some of the mechanics in there are from the base, Powered by the Apocalypse system books and stuff like that. But all of the Pokemon specific mods, the way that moves work, the way that the stats are set up, the way that the archetypes for the Pokemon are set up, that was all myself and Steven Charbonneau, Jolly by Nature, putting that together with some input from Celeste. So it was a lot of fun putting that together. There was so much more that we wanted to do with it. But writing as an endeavor in general is very time consuming. And have y'all looked at the Pokemon move list lately? It's big. It's real big. And when you're talking about taking a look at a move and thinking, okay, this is no longer just a video game move that has a type and a damage output and maybe a secondary effect. How does this move work in a role-playing context? Like, what are the words in the name? What do they mean? What can Vine Whip do that Razor Leaf cannot? You actually have to figure that stuff out. So you just sit there with a giant spreadsheet of every move in the game, and you go down one at a time, and you add. I think what we did is we put tags. So tags were like secondary effects that could appear on a critical hit, as well as what are the story implications of utilizing a move, like Karate Chop. Like, it's such an essential, like, quick little move, but what does that actually mean? What can it do? Is it just a situation where Machoke can use this to shatter blocks like you see in all the like martial arts televised competitions, just break a bunch of cinder blocks? Like, what does it actually mean? And it's fun figuring that stuff out, but it's really time consuming. Then you got to put it all in writing, and then you got to QA it.
Yeah, I can imagine that must have taken you ages to sort out.
Yeah, and if people ask, and we've had people ask, like, why don't the rules exist for us to download today? Why was it a Patreon stretch goal? That's why. Just because we got to take the time to sit down and go through all of that, and we never wanted to release a system that was half done. You know what I mean? We wanted it to feel very complete and ready to play for anybody who picked it up.
For sure. So is there a sort of PDF or something out there that people can find to learn it themselves?
Not at the moment. Hashtag maybe someday. There is a Word document that does exist, which is more or less the knowledge trust for the system, but it is definitely a work in progress filled with annotations by yours truly and like columns and being like, this is bullshit. We need to get rid of this. It doesn't work the way it's supposed to. And like notes on how do multi-hit like abilities work in a system where everybody has 6 HP?
Yeah. Well, here's hoping that one day it will come out. I'd love to have a try with your system at some point.
Yeah, well, if it does, you'll be the first to know. Though, admittedly, my track record with delivering items to you is not great. It did take me nearly a year to get you your bread recipe, the dough recipe.
But God, that was so worth the wait. I made it the next day after you sent it to me. And damn, that is a good pizza. That was the best pizza I've had in a long time.
It's so good. I really want to make some of the dough, but finding flour here has been tough.
Yeah, tell me about it.
It's become like gold dust over here as well. It's very hard to come by.
Flour is gold dust. The world turned upside down.
Okay, so we don't normally talk news on this podcast unless it's something kind of noteworthy, but did you guys happen to see that Pokemon Home's update got data mined recently?
I didn't.
No, I didn't. No. Ooh.
So they didn't get too much, but some new moves were added to the database, and there were 21 new moves that haven't been in the games yet that are coming out. I mean, obviously pretty soon with the expansion coming out, I guess.
Yeah, I would imagine that they're moves for the probably for some returning mon with updated learn sets, and probably some for the new like legendary mythical Pokemon that are coming up. Maybe even for some new Gigantamax.
That's what I mean, I'm not sure about the G-Max move because I was thinking on Home, you know, the max moves aren't really stored on there because they only are active when the Pokemon's Dynamax or Gigantamax. So I feel like these are just moves.
That's really interesting.
Yeah.
Seems like a lot.
I can go through them if you want, and we can kind of talk about some of the ones that you know, they're still kind of speculative, you know, they're not confirmed, but it sounds like they might be legit.
Hell yeah. Give us some moves, Tom.
Okay, so we got Expanding Force, Steel Roller, Scale Shot, Meteor Beam, Shell Sidearm, Misty Explosion, Grassy Glide, Rising Voltage, Terrain Pulse, Skitter Smack, Burning Jealousy, Lash Out, Poltergeist, Corrosive Gas, Coaching, Flip Turn, Triple Axle, Dual Wing Beat, Scorching Sands, Jungle Healing, Wicked Blow, and Surging Strikes.
Nice.
I mean, we've already heard of Jungle Healing because that was the...
That's for the legendary, isn't it?
For the new mythical Pokemon. Why have I... Oh, Zarude, yeah.
That's the one.
The Sandstorm Pokemon.
There are some of those which seem like maybe they're intended for doubles where they do something and maybe also set terrain.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking. Or what I kind of thought with, especially the Misty Terrain, Misty Explosion, Grassy Glide, Rising Voltage. I thought maybe they were moves that did more power or did something during that terrain being set.
Yeah, that's entirely a possibility too. I mean, one of the things that I think they really doubled down on in Sword and Shield is interesting things for competitive. Like, they released a lot of items that really shook things up. I mean, they're slowly moving away from the limited decks with the DLC releases, but there was definitely a lot more thought given to the metagame than before.
For sure.
And if that's true, I think that there is a good possibility that this is more of the same.
Yeah, I think you're right. I mean, I'm all for more stuff to do in terrain because I feel like there isn't enough moves that kind of accompany terrain. So I'm really hoping that there is something there because I've never been that bothered about using terrains during battles. So, you know, something like that to kind of give me, you know, just to draw me in a bit more would be great.
Yeah, I mean, I think those things, they give variety, right? Like, weather is a play style all of its own. Terrain often felt like not an afterthought. Terrains were powerful. The prominence of the taboos in Sun and Moon were it was ridiculous, but there was so little to do with them because terrain could be set so limited, like in its scope and fashion, that you couldn't really necessarily like build a team based around like terrain play like you can around, like, say, like rain teams. For weather. So maybe this is an indication that they're going to change that.
Yeah, I agree as well. There's a couple of moves that are on this list that I really want to talk about because I think they sound really exciting. One of them is Shell Sidearm, which makes me think Slowbro. Because I don't know if you guys saw there was like a silhouette of the Galarian, no, yeah, the Galarian Slowbro, but it didn't have the shell on its tail. And
Okay.
now this is making me think that maybe the shell is attached to its arm or both of its arms, and it has like a, like something to do with that.
That's quite
Uh,
interesting.
it must be a signature move.
That is wild.
I hope so.
What a wild thought that would be. Just like Buster Cannon,
Yeah.
slow bro. Just got a shelter on its arm.
Just like how like Mega Blastoise, how it has those little like wrist cannons. Like I just picture that, but their shoulders, and I love it. I'm all for it.
Oh, that's so funny.
I really want it. And the other one that I really like the sound of is Corrosive Gas, because it sounds like poison gas, but mixed with Salazzle's signature ability, which is Corrosion, which means you can poison steel types. So it'd be really interesting to have like a move that can now poison steel type Pokemon.
Yeah, I think that is. I think you're probably spot on. Oh God, what is the Pokemon that looks like a big steel tower that gets a lot of play?
Steel Tower
Oh.
Duraludon?
Yeah.
Uh,
Sorry, it's been a while since I've been in Sword and Shield. I'm waiting for the DLC.
yeah, for sure.
But I mean, Steel got some pretty good stuff.
It did, yeah.
Sword and Shield. So that wouldn't surprise me. I mean, poisoning things and stall have always been, a prominent strategy type. And I don't think that it is as much. I mean, granted, you don't see it in doubles, but for singles, it's always been pretty popular.
Yeah, I love poisoning Pokemon, so it's cool for me if I can do that to anything now. Just like that, yeah, that's always a bonus. One other move I wanted to look at was Meteor Beam, which I don't know what that could be because we've just had Steel Beam, but it sounds like it might be another Steel type move because we've had Meteor Mash for so long, like a physical Steel type move, and now we've got Meteor Beam, so maybe it's like another special Steel type move.
That might be interesting. Steel is Steel is a fascinating type, right? It was added, and it's always been such a defensive typing. I mean, why wouldn't it be? But I think as generations have gone on, and the arrival of Fairy type, when Kalos was new, really shook up what Steel needs to be. In terms of a counter to fairies and dragons.
Absolutely, yeah.
And it made it more valuable than it ever was before, and prominently in Sun and Moon because there were so many good fairies.
Yeah, there were. They really went in on it, and now like Steel and Poison are more important than ever. It feels like.
I mean, as as the Poison Queen over here, I'm totally down with that. But I know that poison is not a particularly popular typing. I'm in the minority.
And there's one more move I wanted to talk about called Scorching Sands, which my theory is it's going to be the ground type equivalent of Scald. It sounds like a move that's ground type that has the possibility to burn.
Yeah, I can see that.
Which I really hope it is the case. Either that or maybe it's a fire type move that can set up Sandstorm, but I feel like it's more the former.
Yeah, you're probably right. My mind immediately went to the latter, where I was like, oh, like a fire move that sets sand, but I don't know how practical that is.
That's kind of what I think. Yeah. But I feel like a ground type Scald could be a game changer for a lot of Pokemon. Like that would be a huge get.
Yeah. It
definitely
definitely would.
Especially if a lot of fire type Pokemon can use it as well, because then it'll have a lot more sort of coverage. I think it'd just do a lot of good. I really hope that is the reality of that move. But
I mean, Scald is arguably one of the best Pokemon moves ever made.
I love it. It's one of my favorites. So yeah.
It's so broken in comparison to so many other moves where water is such a good typing because it hits so many things neutral, and burn chance is ridiculously useful and at a 30% like apply rate or something like that. It's absurd.
Yeah, I'm a big advocate for it, and I really hope that more moves get that kind of treatment, because it's just so important, I think.
Yeah, well, you don't want to get punched by some of those physical attackers, but beware the gut switch.
Yeah, exactly. Right, okay, so I want to talk to you guys about what you've been up to this month in terms of Pokemon. So, should we start with you, Matt? What have you been up to this month, Pokemon-wise?
Just playing Pokemon Go on the way to and from work. Other than that, not a lot, to be honest.
Really? Okay,
Yeah.
That's cool, though. I've been playing a little bit of Go as well. It's been okay. I'm starting to kind of burn out a little bit now, but
Yeah.
it is good. It's nice that I can play from home.
Yeah, I like that they've added that feature, actually. That's quite nice.
Yeah.
I have actually not been into Go in quite a while. What is this play from home business?
Well, because of the lockdown in place at the moment and people not being able to leave their homes, Pokemon Go had to kind of switch up a lot of things to make sure that people could play from home still
And still be
use the
interested.
game. Yeah, so now you get research tasks given to you every day. If you've got an available slot, you'll get one. So you can complete research from home now as well and continue to get them. So you don't have to keep going out to find a Pokestop to get more research. They introduced some. Well, they've doubled the distance between how far away from a Pokestop you need to be to activate it. So that's been definitely helpful. And they've also now added a remote raid pass, so you can now participate in raids from your home. If you can see them on your phone wherever you are, you can click on it and you can join that raid now. So
those are all legitimately great changes.
They're really great. Yeah, I mean they've really done a lot to accommodate this new world that we live in, and it's been good. I've been really enjoying doing it. The only problem is that if you see the raids, I mean 9 times out of 10, probably even more so, that when I click on a raid that's active, nobody else is in the waiting room, and I feel like everybody's just waiting
For someone to
another
drop in.
person to drop in so they can drop in. So you just end up in this state of limbo where nobody's doing any raids because you're all just waiting for the 1 stars that you can solo.
People are silly.
Yeah, I've been thinking for the longest time they need to include an item like a flare or something like that, like a firework that you can set off on a raid area, so that people
Can see it.
can see a flare and say, "Oh, look, somebody's waiting to join that raid. We'll drop in and then play together."
Yeah.
Yeah, or even to set a marker with a countdown to when you want to start, so people can look around and say, "Oh, there's a raid that's going to start here in 30 minutes."
Yeah, exactly. I think that's what they need. Like, just a way for players to tell other players that they want to take part in this raid.
That would make it so much better.
But it has been cool. They've really implemented a lot of changes that have made the game a lot more, accessible for people at the moment.
Yeah, it's good. It's a nice improvement.
I'll have to check that out. It's still on my phone. It's just, I obviously haven't been going a whole lot of outside, so I hadn't even really thought to boot it up. What have I been doing in Pokemon this month?
Yeah, tell us. Yeah.
I rebranded and relaunched my Twitch page this month, and we started the Nuzlocke World Tour Redux. So when I started BBR almost 3 years ago, we went through Gens 1 through Gen 5 on our little trip, but I didn't actually get to do any of those as myself because I was in the closet and I couldn't be authentically me. And so while I'm stuck at home, I've taken to going back through those games and playing all the director's cut versions that I didn't get to play on BBR and completing them on stream. And we've been playing Yellow for 3 weeks now. We're still using the BBR point system. There's no PvP. I'm just literally scoring my run. I am utilizing a rule as well that was given to me by Miss Darzard on Twitch. You might have seen her around the Blastburn Radio community as well, in which any Pokemon that end up in our Hall of Fame team, like when we finish Yellow, they're banned forever going forward. So they just count as dupes when I'm going through my Nuzlocke, which means I got to be really economical about what I bring, because if I bring a golem with me to the E4 and it goes in the computer, I got no early rock type for gens 2, 3, and 4.
Oh man, yeah. You're so right. That's crazy.
Which seemed really like careful. A lot of fun to do. I caught a Chansey in the Safari Zone on this run, which is wild.
Um,
I mean, the fact that you found one, let alone catch it, is just huge.
It was. We always did like 5 dupes protection. The way we always did Safari Zone was like, you go in, if you find something that you don't have, you throw balls to either catch it or it runs away, and you keep going till you're out of steps. And it was like the 3rd encounter that popped up, and the first one I didn't have, and it went in the ball in like 2. It was insane. Our naming theme for the Nuzlocke is Candy. So all the Pokemon are named after Candy, and we named our good Chansey Cadbury after Cadbury eggs.
I was about to say, I hope you name one Cadbury after us after this, but you did.
Yep, I'm really excited to use Cadbury on this run. You can't get a Chansey in Gen 1, or generally at all, and not use it. Think about this. For sure. This is a fun fact, right? Those of you who maybe didn't play back when Gen 1 was a thing, there's no special split. Yeah. So Chansey's special defense is also its special attack. You can run Bolt Beam on Chansey in Gen 1 and be effective. That's bananas.
Oh my god, that's amazing.
But that's what I've been up to in the world of the Pokemons.
Because nowadays, when you have a Chansey, like all that you can really put on it for damage dealing is stuff like Toxic or like Seismic Toss or something like that. There's not really a lot of, moves that you could really deal damage with. So the idea of having a Chansey that's just like super powerful now with special moves sounds so good. I love that.
It's so crazy to me that is legitimately a thing that I could do. I was like, wow, I got this really hype encounter. I was like, let's mosey on over to Smogon and just see like what people were running in Gen 1 OU. And they're like, second down is a Bolt Beam special attacker Chansey, and it's wild.
Oh, man. What other moves do you stick on it? I guess Soft Boiled is a really good one to have.
Yep, Soft Boiled is a TM in Gen 1. I just picked it up. It's right across the little pond in Celadon City.
Yeah. Yeah, that's so cool.
But that's what I've been doing. We're probably going to finish Yellow, barring a wipe, next week, which means we're on to Crystal, which should be fun.
So good.
Nice.
Crystal is one of my favorite games. I love Crystal so much.
Should I pick a Chikorita just for you as I go through?
Pair time, bring it back. Yep. Please do.
All right.
So when Blastburn Radio hit Series 2, I got you guys to pick out my starter for me, and you picked out a Chikorita and a pair time, and we went pretty much nowhere. I wiped very early on, and I was like, I'm retiring already, and that was it. But I feel like
I will do it. I will pick Chikorita, and I will bring Chikorita all the way to Meganium and through the E4 for you.
Oh man, I really hope so. I'm so excited.
I'll send you updates so you can have Chikorita watch.
Oh, please do. I will try and check in on your streams as much as possible.
Well, you're welcome anytime.
Thanks. Okay, so brace yourselves, guys, because I have been up to a record amount of Pokemon this month.
All right, I'm buckled in.
In our last episode, in the April episode, I realized that I barely did any Pokemon play that month. I got really into Diablo with my girlfriend, and that's all we did for like a month. And then like shortly after the episode aired, we kind of stopped playing, and we haven't played it for like 3-4 weeks now. So I've had a lot of time for Pokemon. And okay, here's what I've been playing and what I've finished. Okay, so I have completed Pokemon Colosseum, Pokemon XD Gale of Darkness, Pokemon Platinum, Pokemon Sword, and Pokemon Soul Silver to a point. The to a point is that I'm basically, this is all in aid of doing the Ribbon Challenge. I don't know if you've ever heard of that, Anna.
No.
So the Ribbon Challenge is something that I saw on Imgur, and it was a guy that had picked up a Pokemon from, I think, Pokemon Colosseum. It was one of the Shadow Pokemon, and he purified it and then did the Battle Tower, which is Mount Battle, which is 100 consecutive battles that you've got to do in a row to get ribbons for your Pokemon. So essentially, you start with 2 ribbons from that game, and then you move it onto Gem 3 games. So you move it to Ruby, Sapphire, or Emerald, and you basically have to get all of the ribbons through all of the games and work your way up into the most modern gen. So it's a huge task, and I've been kind of trying to pave the way to start doing that. So I played through all of Colosseum, all of XD. Originally I wanted to do a Sableye in honor of you, Anna, but I could not beat Mount Battle on XD, so I had to change to Colosseum, where I used a Mantine named Marina, and we did it. And I've now got in Pokemon Emerald a Mantine named Marina, who is about to go on like the biggest journey of its life, I think, up to this point.
That is super exciting.
It is so big.
That's impressive, Tom.
Soul Silver, though, I was playing it, and that game is a grind, and I'm not even to the part where you have to fight Red yet, which is what we talked about a couple of weeks ago, Anna. I beat Claire, and I got to the Elite Four. I went through Victory Road, and I got to the Elite Four, and I stopped there, and I thought, do you know what? When I can already control this Mantine when I get it now, because I've got 8 badges, eventually I'm going to have to grind this Pokemon's level up to 100 to just get through the Red battle, because that's one of the ribbons. So I was like, okay, if I stop here now, I can do everything I need to do in Gen 3, and then when I bring it up to Gen 4, I can basically just sweep the game with this Mantine and level it up at the same time, and then just kind of kill 2 birds with 1 stone, if you get what I mean.
That's a good idea.
Yeah. So, definitely do yourself a favor, as somebody who played Soul Silver fairly recently and had to grind for Red. Go thief yourself a lucky egg off of a Chansey.
Okay.
Do it. It is a miserable slog without it. And you can increase your chances by bringing something with compound eyes at the front of your party. So grab yourself a Butterfree or something like that. It'll save you a bunch of time in hunting for the egg, and the egg itself will save you incalculable hours and sanity as you grind away.
I will definitely do that. I hadn't even thought of doing that. I didn't know if the lucky egg was available. But now I know.
You got to thief it off of a Chansey.
Okay, I'll bring my boys. We're gonna get one of those eggs. Okay, I can. But yeah, it's been a wild month. I've played a lot of Pokemon games. I played Platinum through to completion for the first time in like, I want to say 10 years. It's been a long time since I played Gen 4, and I loved it. It was really fun.
I'm so excited to get there on the tour. I haven't played Platinum in such a long time. It's so good too.
It's so good. I got really lost during the Distortion World area, where you have to kind of like walk up walls and like jump on random platforms to like raise and lower the ground, and I was so confused. It was the weirdest moment in Pokemon.
It's a really wild spot, but like legitimately think about how cool that was on the hardware that they had at the time. Like that's an incredibly complex idea to deliver to somebody in a 3D game, let alone, you know, a not fully 2D environment, but like a top-down kind of presentation.
Yeah, for sure. It is like, it's a really interesting place to check out. Like it's one of those things that like I feel like everybody has to experience, because it's just so unique to anything that's ever been seen in Pokemon before, and still to this day, except maybe the what is it called in Pokemon Sun and Moon, where the portals that you go through, where does it take you?
The ultra wormholes.
People are going to be screaming at me. The wormhole, ultra space.
Yeah, ultra space.
Wow.
Yeah, the only frontiers that we're pushing in Pokemon these days is the dad bod of Chairman Rose.
Oh God. So yeah, I actually finished Sword like yesterday afternoon. No, 2 days ago. It was 2 days ago I finished Sword. I finished Shield a long time ago, and I've been meaning to play through Sword, and I did it, and I imported all my Pokemon from home over and finished the Pokedex. Now I'm ready for the DLC to come out. So
Yeah,
Yeah,
that's
it's
soon,
got to
isn't it?
be like it's June. I know that much, but they haven't put out a trailer or anything yet, which worries me. I don't know. Somebody's dropping the ball, I think, in Nintendo for not putting out more promotion. I think 'cause they haven't really shown a lot, and you'd think coming up to the weeks before, you'd start seeing quite a lot more sort of trailers and info and things like that. But it's been pretty slow.
I think it's tough. Everybody across the world has been affected by what's going on, and teams having to work remotely and away from each other, especially on things like marketing teams and stuff like that. There's so much that goes into a marketing campaign for a game or for a release or a DLC update or literally anything. So it may just be a logistical challenge that they are working through, and it's slowing down their normal process.
Yeah, you're probably right. I mean, I just hope we get something soon because I'd love to see some more before it comes out. I mean, although it's nice to go in and have lots of surprises, I'd love to have another thing to sort of really hype me up. Because at the moment, I'm just like, oh, it's going to be good when it comes out, but I want to be like pumped like I was when Sword and Shield first came out.
Oh, those first couple weeks of Sword and Shield, I played through both versions in like short order.
They were so good. Matt and I were visiting Matt's brother in Scotland the week it came out. So it came out on the Friday, and we went to Scotland on the Monday. And the Friday, we were returning home, and we were like, we got to leave early so we can get home in time to play Pokemon. And
that was a long day.
It took so long to get home. He lives near Loch Ness, and it was like, I don't know how long we drove for, like 3-hour drive, which isn't much, but it was like the windy roads around Loch Ness, and like then we had to get a flight, and then we had to get a bus, and then like it just took hours to get home. It took the whole day to get home.
It made it longer knowing that it was there waiting for us when we got home.
Yeah, it did. And I got home at like 6 p.m. I think. I ordered a Domino's pizza straight away, and like just stayed up until like 2-3 in the morning just playing Pokemon. And just it was such a good day. I'll never forget that day.
That was amazing. The whole way back, just talking about what Pokemon we were going to catch, what Pokemon we were going to use.
Yeah.
That's really wild. My pre-order shipment was delayed on Sword and Shield. So on release day, I went to a retail store in the flesh, and I bought the other copy.
Nice.
So that I could play with everybody. But it ended up being like later in the day, in the evening, and so I was like way behind chasing everyone. It's always really interesting to see those worldwide launches. Like it's so interesting because there are so many Pokemon fans, and so like people playing in the raids, which was a very new thing, and people being like, oh, like how do we do this, and like what's the best way to do it, and are we getting cool stuff? And I know that our Discord channels were like alight with people being like, hey, there's this raid over here I'm gonna go do you want to come join? And it was just, it's such a good time. It's, despite the community divisiveness over certain aspects of launch, it was really just nice to see people enjoying the game together.
Yeah, for sure. I totally agree. We were all in on that when it first came out as well. We were playing a lot. Like Matt and I would be messaging each other all the time, like, you going to play? And they'd like sending each other like codes to join each other's raids, and like
that was so much fun.
I never forget when we found the oh my god, Center Scorch, wasn't it? The Center Scorch raid. And we were both like, what is that Pokemon? And it was just this giant centipede that was like on fire, and we were just like so amazed by it. Like, whoa, what is this Pokemon?
There are some real like world-class designed Pokemon in Sword and Shield.
Oh, yeah. I wasn't
so
going to ask you
good.
this, but who is your favorite Pokemon of Sword and Shield?
Oh my goodness. You're giving me a real hard question, Tom. I think the entirety of the Grookey line I really, really enjoy. Anybody who knows me knows that I love monkeys. And having a second monkey that is not garbage was really great. And it's a grass type, and I love grass types so much. And it's
agree.
good.
Yeah.
Like, it is a legit good line. I totally dig it. Also, honorable mention to our icy Galarian Darmanitan.
Oh yeah,
who was like MVP of my first run through. Just smashed through everything.
That thing with guerrilla tactics is it's a machine. Like I've never I was so hyped when I saw that ability on it, and I was like, oh my god, it gets like a choice band like straight away.
Let's get some double band action going on.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. It's perfect. I also went for Grookey as well. Grookey is my starter, and yeah, I agree as well. I loved it. I actually haven't used my Rillaboom since I finished the game. I never put it on a competitive team that I've tried or anything, but like, yeah, I feel like I might try again when the Gmax version comes out, because I feel like it's going to get a lot more use.
Yeah, I'm really pumped for that. Like I go through these waves where I do a lot of Nuzlocke content, but like main game stuff, like I go through, like I play a bunch and then I take a break. And usually I end up coming back around the time that the annual release happens every year. But this year we're getting the DLC bundles. So I will be back much sooner than I would normally be, because the release for this year would be, what, November?
Yeah.
Whenever a new game or a remake comes out. I'm still holding out hope for Sinnoh remakes at some point.
I think we will get it, but I don't know when. I don't know if they're going to tease us for another year. Like, I don't know if it's going to come out in 2021. Like, part of me thinks they're going to do something else in 2021, and then it will be our 2022 game or something, but you never know. It's hard to say.
Let's go, Togepi.
I was going to say that, but I'm starting to think they're not going to do another Let's Go. But I kind of hope they do, because I did like the Let's Go games.
I just want a Togepi who is so ridiculously good that I can click metronome and just destroy everything all the time.
Oh, man. I really hope so. I'd love that. Although
I want my murder egg.
We've said this before, but the counterpart would have to be Marill, and if I've got to pick between Togepi and Marill, I'm always picking Marill. Like, that's just... I love Marill.
Marill is a cute little blue boy. He's adorable. And Azumarill is actually like a really fantastic Pokemon, especially in draft. Good lord.
It's one of my favorite Pokemon of all time, ever since Gen 6 when it got good, I want to say. And I like went through Pokemon X with one, and I was like, this thing has just changed my opinion of it completely. I managed to get a huge power Adamant Azurill, and like I managed to, at that point I just learned about EV training, so I EV trained it. And like that thing was just a machine. I was so happy with it.
Yeah, it's really fantastic. In draft, it's really hard to get around to, because it'll just belly drum, and then priority smack you down. And if you plan ahead for the grass types, you can give it Sap Sipper instead of huge power.
Yeah, Sap Sipper's cool as well. Like, it's got two really good abilities. Like, I love Sap Sipper because like it makes you immune to grass type moves, which is just like I love any kind of like ability that just negates something. Water Absorb's really great. Volt Absorb, Storm Drain, like anything like that. Lightning Rod. I'd love to make a whole team just based around that ability, just to switch in on the right moves that just negate everything.
Can you imagine if you're running a whole team with abilities that are like that, and you still have a diverse squad?
I mean, you could try. I mean, I don't know how well it'll work, but yeah.
I have no idea if there's even enough like Mon to make something that's interesting, but
I'm gonna try.
You let me know how it goes.
Yeah,
send me a message.
Next month's episode, I'll come to the table with this new team, and it'll be exciting. Okay, so the last thing I wanted to talk about what I've been up to this month. Back to the Ribbon Challenge. I moved my Pokemon over to Pokemon Emerald and immediately got stuck. Like, I'm already on the first hurdle, I'm tripping and falling. I have to do the Battle Tower, and I have to do 50 wins in a row to get the first one. And then after that, 50 again on the level 100 tier. So I'm really struggling already. I went into the box, I pulled out my Mantine, because the Mantine needs to be on the team to get the ribbon. So Mantine's there. I brought a Jump Bluff that I used in Colosseum that had Sleep Powder and Synthesis and Leech Seed, things like that. And I was like, okay, this is going to be really handy. And I brought a Hariyama with Earthquake and Brick Break and stuff like that. And I was like, okay, I think we're good. I went in and I couldn't get any higher than 12 wins. It was awful, and I was getting so frustrated. So I looked it up online, and people were like, "Oh, try using a Metagross, because Metagross is a really strong Pokemon in this gen because of the physical special split. You can use Hyper Beam, and it counts as a physical move, and you can do stuff like that with it." So I spent ages EV training and leveling up this Beldum that I had to soft reset to get an Adamant Nature on. I took it to level 50. I went in and I lasted about 21 battles. And now I have to take a break because I just spent so long working on that Pokemon and thinking I was going to get somewhere, and now I'm just back to square one. And eventually I'm going to try a Slacking, because people are saying Slacking is really good, and also Salamence is apparently really good, but I just don't have the energy right now to, after all this Pokemon, to just start EV training on Gen 3 again.
Yeah.
EV training is a devastating soul grind exercise.
It really, really is. I've never done it in anything lower than Gen 6, which means I've never really been used to having to fight 252 Pokemon in a row, or 125 or 126 with the Macho Brace. But it was long. Like, I've also this month watched all of the Marvel movies from start to finish. So I was just EV training while watching like Ant-Man and Captain America and stuff. So it was kind of nice, but like just so slow.
No, it's really slow. As somebody who spent countless hours EV training for PvP every week in BBR,
I thought about you when I was doing it. Yeah, just thinking, God, you
I
used to do
figured
this
you
every
might.
week. Every week you used to do this over and over again.
Yeah, I mean, I'll tell you what, Macho Brace and Pokerus are your friends. And if you get both, hoo boy, is your life so much easier.
Yeah, because you get like 8 EVs per battle if you were to get one normally. Is that right? Or is it 4?
It's doubles and doubles. So if you have a Macho Brace, if you get one, you would get 2. And then if you have if you have Pokerus on top of that, you would get 4. Instead of 4 per. And if you're killing something that gives you 2 EVs normally, then it's 8 at the end. It definitely makes things so much faster.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, I forgot all about the Macho Brace until after I'd done one of the stats on my Beldum, and then I was like, oh wait, I could have gone and got the Macho Brace and done this like half the time. So I had to like go get the Macho Brace and start like with the next one. But at least I thought about it after, so could have been a lot worse.
Oh man.
Yeah. So eventually I'm going to get through this battle tower, but I don't know which one I want to train up, really. I don't know whether a Slacking would be better or if a Salamence would be better.
I mean, Salamence presumably has the possibility of, boosting to help with clears. So that's always good. Dragon Dance is broken.
Yeah.
If it exists in that gen, God, I don't even remember.
Dragon Dance does, yeah.
Yeah, so it might be worth it. Slacking is also, as mentioned, just really powerful, but you got to deal with the fact that it's a lazy bum.
Yeah, that's the problem. But like, by the sounds of it, the Truant ability just it still makes it such a strong Pokemon that it's almost worth it. When I was playing Colosseum, oh my god, the last boss battle was insanely hard because they're all double battles, and the final boss sends out a Slacking and a Slowking together, and the Slowking uses is it Skill Swap, the move that swaps abilities with the target, and oh my god, this Slacking that was just earthquaking the shit out of my team, and it was destroying everything, and like it was one-shotting my whole team, and it wasn't having to rest every other turn, so it was just. It wasn't even funny. It was awful. It was so bad.
I would not have even thought of that. That's absurd.
It's so clever. Like the AI is so intelligent in that game. They put a lot of effort into really good uses of like double battle mechanics. Like during the mount battle, one of them had I want to say an Ursaring. No, it wasn't Ursaring. It was Zangoose with Guts, and its teammate was using poison powder on it to activate Guts to make it more powerful, and they were just doing stuff like that. There was one trainer that used Explosion while the other Pokemon used Protect, and it would back and forth like that, where one Pokemon would explode, the other one would protect, and like it was just every Pokemon would explode, but like they were taking turns, and it was just exhausting.
That's mad.
Yeah. I don't know how I survived, but I did it.
That's mad.
That is a lot of Pokemon. You put us both to shame, I think.
Yeah.
It was a lot, yeah. And then yesterday I spent a very relaxing 4 hours arranging my Pokemon home boxes into the National Dex order, so they're all now perfectly set up.
I'm so glad I did that when
Yeah.
Home first came out. That was a massive grind.
I'm still missing like probably 200 to 300 Pokemon, so I've got a list ready of Pokemon to hunt, and I'm gonna work on that living dex.
That's so cool.
You're a very ambitious man. I don't know how I could ever get around to doing it. I would lose my mind.
It was one of those things that I started and I was like, right, I'll just do Gen 1 and maybe Gen 2 and then I'll stop and I'll come back to this another day. And then like I was watching a movie and like I finished it before the movie ended and I was like, oh, I guess I'll just carry on while the movie goes on. And then like before I knew it, like 2 extra hours had passed and I was like, oh, okay, I guess I'm just finishing this then.
Yeah.
Yeah, so it's okay.
Now's the perfect time to do it.
Yeah, it was a Sunday afternoon. It was a nice day. I was just quite happy just to chill out and do something like that. It wasn't exactly stressful. It was quite easy to do at Pokemon Home. It was just time consuming. But I'm glad it's done. I don't have to do it ever again now. Anyway, that is all I've been up to this month in Pokemon. That was like the longest talk I've ever had of what I've been up to in Pokemon.
It's been a busy month for you, Tom.
It has. Yeah.
I mean, that's the way things go when you're at home. We dive into our comfort foods.
Exactly. And I've had more time off than I've ever had in my entire life at the moment. And like it's just been nice to fill the time with something that feels kind of semi-productive in terms of, you know, the future of my Pokemon games.
Yeah, absolutely. I can totally understand that. Like I said earlier, like in a time of, you know, a lot of uncertainty, being able to have something to work towards in the absence of, you know, job goals or career goals can be like really useful, especially if those things are items that you feel a good what's the word I'm looking for here? Attachment to. Like if there are things that you enjoy and you can gain satisfaction out of and have the benefit of accomplishing things and checking them off your list and getting that good sense of internal, I did it. Like that's awesome.
Yeah, thanks. I couldn't agree more. It's really good to, yeah, you know, it's little victories, just little victories that keep things going, you know, and, you know, keep you from losing your mind during all of this. So it's kind of nice.
Absolutely.
Right. I want to play a mini game with you guys, with both of you actually. It's kind of like a little find out more about your favorite parts of Pokemon.
Okay.
I'm basically just gonna declare like a kind of category, and then you guys tell me what your favorite part of that category is. For example, your favorite Pokemon, and then you know you guys tell me what your favorite Pokemon is, and we'll go through it like that, just so you know we kind of get to know each other a bit better.
Cool.
I mean, I know you guys fairly well already, but I still think I probably can guess most of the things on this list, so it should be kind of cool.
Nice.
All right, cool. So, yeah, I'll start away. Okay, so what is your favorite Pokemon, guys? I don't know who wants to go first. I should have really started with this. Matt, how about you go first?
So my favorite Pokemon is Ghastly.
Mine is Crobat.
Good old Crobat.
Yeah, Crobat's a great Pokemon. I thought you might have said Crobat.
I mean, yeah, Trask saved my run and saved my heart until he died to a bunch of rocks.
What about you, Matt? Sorry, I don't know if I caught yours.
My favourite Pokemon?
Yeah.
Ghastly.
Of course, Ghastly.
Of course.
Okay, Pokemon type.
Ghost, definitely.
My favorite typing... Oh my goodness. It's a close contention between a couple. But I think I'm still going to go with Poison. There's a lot of Poison Pokemon that I really dig.
Good choice.
Nice.
Pokemon game.
Oh, Soul Silver.
Platinum.
Nice. Pokemon region.
Oh, Johto. Definitely Johto.
Sinnoh for me.
Nice.
Nice. Okay, Pokemon move.
Shadow Punch.
Shadow Punch. Nice.
Yeah.
My favorite Pokemon move. I actually have to think about this.
Do you want to know what mine is?
Go on.
Yes, I do.
I thought about this for a while. My favorite move is Toxic.
That's a good move.
Totally love how that thing can just ruin your day if like you're not prepared for it, and I just love that. Like, I love status moves, and especially ones that get stronger every turn.
I honestly think I'm probably right there with you. Like, almost every team that I ran in Gen 7 OU had an Eviolite Chansey on it with a toxic stall set that I just used to wall the crap out of people, and I loved it. I think I'm right there with you. The daily double for toxic.
It was either that or Will-O-Wisp for me. I just love that. Like,
that's another really good move.
Pokemon, yeah.
Will-O-Wisp is so good.
Yeah, it is so good. I love it. Okay, ability.
Ooh.
These are questions I don't think you
one.
really think about very often. It's kind of nice to like have this. Mine is probably something like Levitate. I love stuff like that where you can avoid moves.
I was going to say Levitate.
I like Curse Body. Curse Body is great because it disables a move, or has a chance to disable a move if you're hit with the move, which is really handy with stuff like Corsola. Eevee like Corsola.
I think that for me, my favorite ability is Prankster.
Oh, that is such a good choice. Yeah, Prankster's amazing.
Nice.
I think that's so good. I mean, everybody knows that I love Sableye.
Mm-hmm.
So that shouldn't be a surprise to anybody, I don't think.
I'm going to also agree with you, actually. I'm changing my vote because of Whimsicott, one of my favourite Pokemon, and Prankster, Tailwind, and Leech Seed. I love it. It's so good.
Whimsicott's so good with the floof.
I love that floof.
The floof.
Gotta have that floof. Okay, your favourite gym leader?
Ooh. It's the ghost one in Gen 2, and I can't think of it.
Morty?
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's the
Morty
one.
with his many Gengars.
Yes.
Oh, don't get me started on this. Last month we had this chat as well where Matt was talking about how he wanted to put Mischievous forward for the top 10 Johto Pokemon. I was like, no, Mischievous does not deserve to be on this slot. If Morty used one in his gym battle, then maybe, but you didn't see that Pokemon until the very end, and by the time you saw it in Gen 2, it was just too little too late. It makes me so mad that Morty didn't have a Mischievous. Like, why? Why would he have so many Gengars and Haunters and Ghastlies when there was a brand new Ghost-type Pokemon there?
Yeah, that's infuriating.
Rant over, yeah.
I'm over here thinking about your question. So many gym leaders are unremarkable, in my opinion, in terms because you see them for all of 2 seconds.
Yeah, I agree.
Like you walk in, you're like, "Hey, you badge," and then you leave. But I think because of that, I'm going to give it to a dark horse candidate. What is her face? She's the dragon trainer at the end of Johto. Is it Claire?
Claire, yeah.
Claire, yeah.
Claire is a bitch.
She
But
is.
you always remember Claire because she's like, I ain't giving you no fucking badge. Get out of here.
Yeah.
I remember as a kid being like, what do you mean? I beat the gym.
I want my badge.
I want my badge. I think that really stood out to me. And I think that is notable enough to make her my favorite gym leader, even if I think she's a terrible person.
I mean, yeah,
I like it.
She sends you to go see her grandpa to get a test to see if you're still worthy of the badge. Like, you hadn't already proven yourself like 8 times already throughout the game that you were worthy of badges, and then
And her team is legitimately threatening, like really threatening. That Kingdra is no joke.
Yeah, that's a difficult one.
That was a hard battle. I lost a couple of times in my Soul Silver run to that Kingdra because like the best counter for a Kingdra is another Kingdra in Gen 4 because there is no fairy type, and it resists electric. Well, it doesn't resist, but it neutralizes electric because of its dragon typing. It's just that Pokemon is so defensive. It's so good.
It's really fantastic, and I know from having to run Nuzlocke through those games, a lot of times the easiest way to defeat it, if you're not going to use, well, there are no super effective moves against it. At the times that you see it, at least, there's no fairy type hanging around, is to boost. You got to use some sort of a boosting move, like a sword stance or something else, and just punch your way through everything before it, which is real risky.
Yeah, I thought of you, Anna, when I was doing this battle, because I was like, thank God I'm not doing a Nuzlocke right now, because the stakes weren't as high. Like, if I lost a Pokemon, it was fine. I could just heal them and bring them back. So in the end, I just, I think I actually did Toxic Stall it. I poisoned it, and I just let the Toxic take care of it. I had to lose a few Pokemon along the way, but like I toughed it out.
Yeah, I mean, that's a perfectly viable strategy. If you're trying not to lose anybody because they'll be permanently dead, that Hydro Pump is a huge fucking issue.
I managed to stall out all of his high PP moves. I had Skarmory that could wall both the Hydro Pump and the Hyper Beam. So I managed to get around those two moves pretty well. But yeah, it was still...
Skarmory is solid.
Skarmory is so underrated, I think. It was one of those Pokemon I've never really used before, and then I picked it up at the end game and I had to grind it for a while, but I was like, this is the best choice I had, because I got to drop the Fearow on my team and put like an actual good flying type Pokemon in there, and like it changed things.
A great way to discover whether Anna will love a Pokemon or not is just ask yourself a couple questions. Is it extremely tanky to an infuriating level? And also, does it have some form of sustain to make you miserable? If those two questions are yes, I will use it a lot.
Looking at you, Ferrothorn.
Yep, Ferrothorn, Toxapex, Chansey. I am all about the wall.
Yeah, I really got into the walls during the end game of Pokemon Shield. I was with Matt one day and I was like, dude, I am in love with this Toxapex Clefable set, like double battle set. I was like, these two just are so good. They really complement each other so well.
Toxapex is such a great Pokemon. Regenerator is absurd, and Regenerator on a Pokemon that barely takes damage to begin with is incredible.
It's so good. And I just love entry hazards like Toxic Spikes and Stealth Rock and things like that. So like just the ability to set those, yeah, that's a winner for me straight away. Right, okay. Next up, what is your favourite nature?
Again, that's a really difficult one. Oh man. Throwing all the...
Personally, mine is Timid. I like the low attack, high speed. I mean, Jolly's kind of like a similar one. It's the same but reverse, so it's low special attack and high speed.
I'm probably going to go with Adamant.
Okay, nice. Adamant's always good.
Yeah.
I think I'm going to go with Careful.
I knew you were going to say that. How did I know that?
I have never been the kind of person who is on the attack, for lack of a better description. Like, it's really funny. If any of you have listened to Blastburn Radio, you know that Stephen, jolly by nature, and I have known each other a long time. And we could, despite having a lot of things that we agree on, we couldn't be more different. Like, he loves fast attacking type and sweeping type Pokemon, and I just am like, nah, I'm good. I'll be over here doing my thing. And it's like this with everything. Like, a good way to gauge whether something is actually good is whether or not we agree. Like, if you can get us to come to the middle ground and say, yes, this is good, you have a winner.
I mean, the Showdown Spotlights you guys did, I guess, was the perfect marriage of you two coming together and agreeing on something then.
Oh, yeah. That show was a lot of fun. It was a lot of fun to do, and the Friday night fights were great, where we used to battle with user-submitted teams on Pokemon Showdown on Twitch live, and that was a lot of fun. It's just so interesting to see what different people build.
Yeah, for sure.
For squads.
Okay, what is your favorite fossil Pokemon?
Ooh, I'm gonna go with Kabuto.
Nice.
Oh my goodness. I think it is Tyrant.
I was going to say the same. Tyrant is a great Pokemon. I used to prefer Amora and Aurorus, but I've really come around on Tyrantrum lately.
Tyrantrum is a giant rock T-Rex who's also a dragon. How can you not love that?
And I love Tyrant because it just looks so kind of derpy. I like kind of cute. I just love that idea. Right, okay, what is your favorite game mechanic? For example, Mega Evolution, Z moves, Gigantamax.
Well, I can tell you it's definitely not Z moves.
It's got to be Gigantamax for sure.
Really? Okay.
Yeah, for me at the minute.
I think for me, even though it's ill-fated ending was foretold, I think Mega Evolution is my favorite. I loved these like really cool extra designs, and we get like a piece of that with Gigantamax, but I don't know, it's just different for me. I am really sad that some of those designs like Mega Beedrill are just lost forever.
Okay, guys, so what is your favorite mythical Pokemon?
Ooh. Oh, I don't know.
You're going to make me bring up a list so I make sure I don't miss any.
Okay.
I think I know, but...
Mine is Jirachi, just because I remember going on a holiday when I was really young, and I didn't even know what Jirachi was, but somebody that I was on our little campsite when we were on this little holiday had a Jirachi on his Pokemon Ruby or Sapphire cartridge, and before the end of the holiday he traded it to me, and I had this Jirachi on my Pokemon Ruby, and I loved that thing so much. I leveled it up to level 100, and I thought I was the luckiest kid in the world because I had this Pokemon that nobody else had, and it was
That's
such
so
a
cool.
huge deal. Yeah, always had a special place in my heart since that day.
It has to be Keldeo for me.
Good choice.
Oh, that's a good one.
I do like Keldeo.
I just love that unicorn boy.
I've been playing Black 2 again lately, and I went past Alder's house, and there's that little hidden area behind his house where there's the rock that the Swords of Justice have carved into. And I just remember when I first... That game was kind of new, and I got the event Keldeo in there, and I took it there, and you could change it to the Resolute form using that area, and it made a little cutscene happen where the Swords of Justice all appeared, and you saw Keldeo change form. I loved that as well. I wish they did more stuff like that in the games now.
Nice. I'm probably going to go with Celebi.
Good choice. Celebi's great.
Little green bee.
Celebi was my my runner-up, as it were.
Nice.
Okay.
I do like a Celebi.
What is your favorite or preferred battle style? For example, single, double, inverse, multi-battle?
Do you know what? I really hated double battles for a long time, but I actually really enjoy them now. So I'm going to go with double battles. I quite like them.
I like singles, but that's where most of my experience is. Playing doubles actually kind of stresses me out. But that's largely because I do Nuzlocke, and doubles and triples battles are terrifying.
Yeah, I can imagine.
Yeah, 2 Pokemon taking out one of your Pokemon is just... Yeah, I could see that. Okay, the last question. What is your favorite starter Pokemon?
Oh, that's a good question.
I had a whole episode of arguing with Steven about this last year. It's Grookey. I love my good little grass monkey friend.
Do you know what? It would have been Chikorita, but now it's definitely got to be Sobble.
Wow, really?
Yeah. I really do like Sobble. The depressed little boy.
I'm always going to side with my friend Jolly and say that Litten is the best starter. And I will go to the grave.
Oh my god. You're killing me. I'm dying inside.
The close runner-up is Rowlet, but yeah, there's something about these Alola starters that just make me so happy.
Rowlet's a good choice.
I really do like them on the whole. I really like Litten and Torracat. I just don't like Incineroar.
Oh,
if it had been different at the end, it would be in my top 5, hands down.
I feel like Matt and I have had this argument so many times about our love for Incineroar, and like in the end, I just go, he's so great. He's just an asshole. Like that's just why I love him.
He thrusts fire from his belt.
We had a whole debate episode with Freya in like last year's series where like we were ranking the starters, and like it was just me against Matt and Freya, just arguing about why I thought Incineroar was the best starter of all.
And we were completely disagreeing.
Yep. Right, anyway. Let's move on to the next game. I want to play Pokemon Show and Tell. This is a game where each of us bring a Pokemon and the other hosts have to guess what the Pokemon is using a series of clues that are given to you by the person that brought the Pokemon. So we've all picked a Pokemon each, and we're going to go through it and try and work out what it is. Then we're going to talk briefly about what moves we run on it, partner Pokemon, etc. Just go with it from there.
Sweet.
Do you want me to go first if I start with my Pokemon, and then we'll go from there?
Yeah, go for it.
Yeah, that sounds good.
All right, cool. So my first clue is this Pokemon is a grass-type Pokemon.
Okay. I don't know.
Any guesses?
Sorry,
this is the format, by the way, Anna. Yeah, like basically I'll supply a piece of information and you guys have to guess a Pokemon, and then I supply another piece of information, and then you just keep going until you will eventually get it, I'm sure. But yeah, we just leak a tiny bit of information at a time.
At a time.
It's totally Bulbasaur.
Okay, you ready for the next clue then?
Go on.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, one of the attacks it learns is Power Whip.
Ooh. Okay.
That is... Oh. Is it Tangrowth?
It's not Tangrowth.
Okay.
But the next piece of information is a Pokemon from Generation 4.
Okay.
So
Generation 4 that
grass
can...
type.
Nice.
That knows Power Whip.
That should narrow it down slightly.
I mean, there's not... Sinnoh doesn't have an enormous breadth of new Pokemon in it.
No.
I gotta look at a list of
Yeah,
Sinnoh Pokemon.
yeah, feel free to look at lists, by the way. Yeah, that's fine. I can give away the next clue if you want. That is, I actually, in a way, if you're looking at lists, I kind of don't want to give it to you because I feel like you're going to get it very quickly as soon as I tell you the next piece of info.
Let me take a look through the Sinnoh decks here.
Okay.
And we will... You have any ideas, Matt, while I'm looking through?
I'm also having a look through.
Okay. I don't know if I want to give you the next hint yet.
Is it Carnivine?
It is Carnivine. I knew you were going to get it.
There we go. Power Whip doesn't have broad distribution.
No, that's what I thought.
I was like,
The next piece of info I was going to give you was it's a single stage Pokemon, and I was like, as soon as I say that, it's going to be obvious. But no, good job. I thought that might have been like a tricky one to get because it's so sort of easily forgotten about, I guess.
Yeah, for sure. Nice.
Okay, so yeah, Carnivine is my Pokemon this month. It's not a Pokemon I've ever really used, but when I was playing through Platinum, I saw it a couple of times, and I was like, oh yeah, that exists.
That's a
Forgot
thing.
about you. So the moves that I would run on it is I kind of had a look at Smogon as well just to see what people are using, and basically the running consensus is don't use this Pokemon. It's not good enough. There are plenty of better options out there. But if you really want to use this trashy Venus Flytrap, not cactus, this trashy trap, you want to run Power Whip, Swords Dance, Sleep Powder, and Knockoff, which actually is a pretty good moveset, I thought.
Fair enough.
It does a lot of things you'd want it to do. You can set up, you can deal some powerful stab, you can put a Pokemon to sleep, and you can knock off those horrible items that can make your life a lot harder.
Nice.
Its ability is Levitate, which is a really good ability. I mean, doesn't really do too much because ground doesn't do too much to it, but I guess anything helps. You can get a good switch in. I would give it a life orb just to boost some of those damaging moves, and give it an adamant nature. I would invest its EVs in max attack and HP investment, and if I was using it now, I would partner with a Rhyperior that can tank fire type moves, so you could get the switch in to the Rhyperior. Or I would use something like a Togekiss that can use Follow Me to take away some of the heat. But yeah, it's slow. It has low defense. It's not going to last very long, basically. Like, it goes down so quick. But that is Carnivine.
Cool.
It's a good Pokemon, but it's not something I'm ever interested in trying.
It's got a really interesting design, like aesthetically.
It does, yeah. I actually kind of like the design on it. I think that's kind of what made me want to pick it, because I was like, yeah, do you know, I always overlook this Pokemon, but it is a really cool looking Pokemon.
Nice.
Matt, how about you introduce us to your Pokemon?
Okay, so mine I picked really randomly. I just typed in a number and
I love that. Yep.
yep, that's my method. Okay, so I'll start off with it's a normal type Pokemon.
A normal type Pokemon. Okay.
Yeah.
There are plenty of them.
Oh yes.
I'm gonna just go for the first one that came to the top of my head, which is Minccino.
Say again, sorry?
Minccino?
No, it's not.
Okay.
Would you like the next piece of information?
Sure. Anna, how do you feel? Do you want to throw any guesses out now, or do you want to wait for the next hint?
We'll get the next. I mean, there are so many normal types.
It's such a big thing. Yeah.
This is not going to narrow it down much, but the attack is tackle.
Oh, what? That's awful. That's not very nice.
I'm being an asshole today. I'm sorry.
I went for Power Whip. You go for Tackle. Okay. Centret.
No, I'm afraid not.
Okay. Any ideas, Anna?
It's totally Patrat.
I'm afraid it's not.
Oh, I'd love it if that was. Okay, what's the next hint?
It's Generation 4.
Gen 4 Tackle. Bidoof.
No.
Oh.
I'm sorry, Tom. It's not.
That is absolutely wild.
Yep. This is hard.
Let's get another clue here. Tackle as wide distribution.
Yeah.
Right, okay. It's not... It's a basic Pokemon.
Okay, cool. As in,
So
it can evolve, but it hasn't.
Yes, basically, yeah. It can evolve, but it's basic form.
That narrows it down quite a bit. The first Pokemon that comes to my mind is Starly, Anna. I can't think though. There can't be that many. Happiny.
No, I'm sorry.
Have you got any more?
I don't know if Happening can tackle. That seems.
Oh yeah, true.
A little maybe beyond its capability.
Yeah.
A Cleffa.
I'm afraid not.
Okay.
Shall I give you a second attack? This one's probably a lot better.
Yeah, please do. Please give us something.
Okay. Body Slam.
I know what this is.
Go on.
I got it already. It is Munchlax.
Yes, it is.
Very nice.
Nice. All right, you had us going in the first half, but yeah.
Yeah, Body Slam gave it away. I don't know what I'd really do with a Munchlax. Like I said, I just picked a number randomly, just to see what would pop up. That's how I'm going to do these Pokemon from now on.
I would hug it because it's super cute. Evolve it as fast as possible so it can do good things.
Yeah, into Chunky Boy.
Gotta love that Snorlax.
Oh yeah, definitely.
I mean, I don't know. I've never really looked up what you could do with a Munchlax. Have you, Hannah? I've never really thought about using a Munchlax.
I haven't. I mean, you might be able to use it in Little Cup for something.
Yeah, I'm sure it's got some uses somewhere.
I
It's
imagine
super
so.
slow. It's one of the slowest Pokemon ever. It's got 5 base speed.
Yep.
But it does get thick fat. And it has Gluttony, which is really handy at the moment with G-Max Snorlax. Gluttony was like a really good one for the belly drum set.
Nice.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
So I mean, you could probably run if it knows belly drum. You could probably do some really good stuff with that.
Yeah, that would be cool.
But it
anyway,
does get belly drum at level 48. You got to level it up a long way, but yeah, you could get a belly drum on your Munchlax. That's kind of
nice.
cool. So I guess
Yeah.
you could have a lot of fun with belly drum and sort of body slam and stuff like that. I guess
That would be interesting.
I'm just kind of going off literally what I'm looking at from the quickest of glances, but yeah, it seems pretty cool.
All right, I guess that leaves me. I
does
have never
indeed.
done this before, so I did not randomly pick a Pokemon to make clues for. I actually agonized over what to pick. And now, having sat through the two of yours, I think I may have chosen poorly.
Oh no.
But we will find out, I guess.
Okay.
It is a dark type Pokemon.
Oh, okay. I like me a dark type Pokemon.
Ooh, okay. So, first dark type Pokemon that comes to my head is Zoroark, but I don't know.
It is not that one.
I would one of these days I'll get it first time and it would be a huge moment, but no. Okay.
That'll be insane.
Yeah, that would be insane.
Is it Murkrow?
It is not.
Oh. Okay.
What's the next hint?
It can learn the move Shadow Claw.
Ooh.
A dark type that knows Shadow Claw. Okay, I want to say Bishop.
It is not Bisharp.
Okay.
Oh, I don't know. I'm just having a quick look.
Should I have a look on a little? I might have a look at what Pokemon know this move as well.
Yeah, I'm just
Why
having
not?
a quick...
I-
Is it
I-
Sableye?
It is not.
Oh,
Oh,
that would have
would've
been cool.
Yeah. Okay, what's the next one?
It is a dual type Pokemon.
A dual type Pokemon. Okay,
Okay.
so it's got two types. It's a dark type Pokemon. Is it a Alolan Raticate?
It is not.
Okay.
That was a good guess.
Ooh. Matt, it might be your favourite Pokemon.
You reckon?
Could be the Ghastly line. No, because that's Ghost type, not Dark type. What am I saying? Okay. Have you got any guesses?
I don't. I'm fresh out of ideas at the minute.
Okay, let's get another hint then.
It has special evolution requirements.
Ooh, okay, that
Ooh.
narrows it down quite a bit.
That's a good one.
It's Weavile.
It is.
Yes! Oh, I love Weavile. Weavile's one of my favourite Pokemon.
I love Weavile. After I came out, I went and remade my favorite Pokemon list of each type, and it was really telling how much girlier the list got almost immediately. It's such a feminine list, and then there's just Crobat slapped right in the middle of it.
Oh man, I love it. Weavile's got to be one of my favorite Pokemon. It's not the strongest of Pokemon. I mean, it can do some seriously good things, but like, it goes down really easy because it's Ice type, and Ice type's frail.
Oh, it absolutely is. It's super vulnerable to a lot of things, including like every hazard in existence.
Yep.
However, I mean, that's not what Weavile's around for. Weavile is meant to come in as a revenge killer and just wreck whatever is left, and or prey on extremely vulnerable, advantageous matchups. And in a lot of cases, predicted switches, because it's got an immunity, is something that you can do. And if you manage to get that opening, it will punish people. Not only is it really fast, but it knows priority moves, such as Ice Shard. So You can never count a Weavile out. It is not as useful in Gen 8 as it was in Gen 7, but there's a reason why it sat in OU several times. It's just really good.
Yeah, I agree. I think it's a really good Pokemon. It is my main in Pokken Tournament. I never really cared much about Weavile until I tried using it in Pokken, and then, again, it's one of those moments that just changes your opinion of a Pokemon.
Yeah, it's really cool. And it lost some of its luster this generation with the end of Pursuit.
Yeah.
Getting Weavile in on a Psychic type, either because you suffered a death or on a predicted switch, was devastating. Can't stay in, can't escape. It was like a free kill. Most of the time, if I run a Weavile in older generations, we're running Knockoff, which is an amazing utility move with Stab. Icicle Crash for when you are already faster than whatever's on the field and you need to drop some ice on someone. Ice being a great typing for offense. Ice Shard for priority for when you really need to make sure that Scarfed Durgan gets Kermurdered. And Pursuit to chase all the Psychic types as they try to flee completely futilely. Jolly typing, you want to be real fast because you ain't going to live shit if you get hit. Max investment in speed and attack with a choice band to make sure whatever button you hit is the most devastating
Nice.
I love it.
button that you can lay down. I used a Weavile at the end of our Soul Silver series when I did the Elite Four rematch for extra points, and it wrecked Lance.
Nice.
Yeah,
So good.
I can imagine though. Yeah, I had a brief modicum of success using a Weavile in Gen 8. But not for the reasons you used it. I had a team that was basically based around the ability Justified and Beat Up, and I had a Weavile and a Whimsicott that both used Beat Up on a Lucario. So I would basically have that, and it would get hit up to 5 times, and it would boost its attack by up to 5 times, because when a Pokemon Justified is hit with a Dark type move, their attack goes up, and because Lucario's typing makes it so resistant to Dark, it basically does 1 point of damage for each hit and then boosts its attack. So you can go up to 5 stages of attack just from one move. And it is just devastating. And I had this Weavile that had Beat Up as its main attack that was just used for that. I also had Knockoff on it. I had Ice Shard, and I think I had Sucker Punch. So I could get the priority and I could get hit when I could. I could knock off items that were kind of getting in the way, and then I could also boost up this super strong Lucario.
Yeah, and I mean,
Nice.
Lucario can know extreme speed, so...
Exactly, and then once you Dynamax that thing, it's unbelievable. I can't remember what move. I feel like it had a flying type move of some kind, so it got the speed boost when it used Max Airstream as well. So like it didn't work every time, but when it worked, it really worked.
There's so many cool things you can do in doubles. Like, doubles gives me anxiety because of Nuzlocke, but doubles as a format is really cool.
Yeah, it really is. I just love the kind of stuff you can do, like all the stuff we talked about so far. Like I was talking about with Colosseum, with getting the Slacking's ability off, and just all the kind of crazy stuff you could do. I remember hearing about like a double set that you could basically make Shedinja completely immune to everything and just become the most powerful Pokemon. And I still can't actually remember what you did, but it was crazy. Yeah, I'll have to find that at some point and just kind of talk about that, because I don't know if you can still do it, but if you can, then it's one of those things that, like, if you can get it off, it's gonna be like Exodia in Yu-Gi-Oh! Like, you just instant win.
Instant win. Love it.
Right, well, anyway, that was Pokemon Show and Tell. Okay, so it's time for us to do our ranking segment, which we do every single episode. But just before we get into it, I wanted to quickly go over the Shedinja strategy I was talking about earlier, because I managed to find it online. So let me just go through this strategy that someone's come up with to make an invincible Shedinja.
Oh, go for it.
So you know how Shedinja has the Wonder Guard ability, so only super effective moves will hit it?
Yeah, absolutely.
There is a pretty elaborate and probably near enough impossible strategy, which, if pulled off, will work, it sounds like, but it takes a lot of doing. So you need a Shedinja for a start. You need an Arcanine with the move Burn Up.
Right.
And you need a Tentacruel with the move Reflect type.
Okay.
So basically, here's what you do. So you have to teach your Shedinja Mimic as well.
Right.
Apparently, it can learn that at some point down the line. Probably a Mewtwo somewhere. Okay, so here's what happens. You send in a double battle. You have Tentacruel out, and it uses Reflect type, and then you have Shedinja use Mimic on the Tentacruel, so the Shedinja learns Reflect type. You then send in the Arcanine. You switch out the Tentacruel for an Arcanine and have it use Burn Up while your Shedinja uses Protect. You then use Reflect type with your Shedinja on the Arcanine, and using Burn Up on an Arcanine makes its type nothing because it removes the fire typing, meaning it doesn't have a type anymore, which means once you use Reflect type with Shedinja on that Arcanine, it will now have no type, which means that no moves can hit it anymore.
So that's insane.
Yeah. Okay, so... Sorry, go on.
No, I was going to say that's wild, but it was so hard to pull off.
Incredibly hard. The only problem is after that as well, it's still very, very susceptible to status, such as poison, burning, entry hazards, but hopefully at this point it hasn't left the field and won't leave the field. So they suggest that you have Tentacruel learn Safeguard so that you can basically protect your team from status effects. But then you've still got the problem with Pokemon using moves like Roar or Whirlwind, which it's rare to see on a team, but it happens. People do use Roar. People run Roar on Pokemon.
Yeah.
Just for, But if you can pull off that elaborate strategy, you have a perfect Shedinja.
The unkillable bug.
I want to try
mad.
it, but I feel like I would be pulling my hair out just trying to pull that off because there's just so many steps involved to get there first.
Yeah, there's so many variables in a doubles battle to begin with. Like,
yeah,
what they have out.
Yeah, exactly. You've got to hope that they make 5 wrong turns before.
I'm quite happy if you want to test it. We could do a double battle sometime, and I'll just use pointless moves so you can set this up to see if it works.
We should do that, actually. I'd like that.
I'd be quite happy because I want to see if this is doable.
It's one of those kind of strategies which would be really wild. Like, it would almost never work, but the one time it does, someone on the other side of the match would like flip their computer table.
Exactly.
Yeah.
It is the Exodia. I love it.
Okay. The Exodia. Brilliant.
Okay, so let's do some ranking. So the last episode we ranked the top 10 Johto Pokemon.
We did indeed.
Yeah, and in March we ranked the top 10 Kanto Pokemon. So it's only fitting that we move on to Hoenn this month. So the 3 of us have all brought 10 Pokemon along that we think are the 10 best Pokemon in Hoenn. And we're going to kind of debate which ones should be on our collective list of 10. And then we're going to put them in an order from the best of the best to the best of the worst of the best, I guess.
Yeah.
Okay. Cool. So I'll start off with mine if you like. I'll read through my 10 and then we can work our way around. It's a good idea if we write each other's down so then we can kind of look out for choices that are the same, or we can keep track of what other people have got so we can pick which ones we want to keep and which ones we want to get rid of.
Sweet.
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay, cool. Right, so I'll start. Okay, my 10 Pokemon are Swampert, Gardevoir, Shedinja, Flygon, Altaria, Milotic, Metagross, Jirachi, Mawile, and Banette. What about you, Matt?
Sweet. So my 10 are Gardevoir, Sableye, Aggron, Flygon, Altaria, Milotic, Banette, Absol, Salamence, and Metagross.
We've got quite a few there already.
Yeah.
Quite a few similar ones. I like it. But you've got a couple on there that I haven't got. Notably Absol, which I forgot to think about. So, good choice.
Nice.
All right, Ando, how about you?
I have some unlikely contenders, to be honest, but I picked them because I love them.
Bring it on.
But we do have some similarities on both lists. Swampert is definitely on my list, as is Gardevoir, Jirachi, Absol, Melodic, Shedinja, Altaria, Sableye, no surprise for anybody who listens to BBR Adventures. And let's see, it's Swalot, which no one here will like but me.
I
And
don't believe it.
and Cacturn.
Good choice. But Swalot is just definitely the dark horse. I feel like that's the one that like nobody was expecting to see on this list.
I just love him. He looks like some high society douchebag with his little fucking mustache and his hoity-toity little jiggle walk. It's freaking awesome.
That's the best description I've ever heard.
He does muck with more grace, but the mustache wheezing definitely does with more grace, I think, nowadays. But
Yeah,
he did it first.
Galarian Wheezing is really good. We have a bunch of overlap, actually.
We really do.
Let's see. What did we have for overlapping ones? Sableye, Swampert, Gardevoir, Jirachi, Absol, Melodic, Shedinja, Altaria, Flygon. Yeah, like, there's Metagross on both of your lists. He's not on mine, but he's there. Yeah, we got a lot. We got a lot of overlap, y'all.
We brought 10 Pokemon each, and we could have had 30 Pokemon to choose from, and we only have 16, which says a lot about Hoenn and the Pokemon in it, which is really great.
This should make it easy.
Makes our lives easier. Yeah, this is considering there's an extra person, this is probably the least amount of Pokemon we've ever had to rank.
Yeah, I think so.
Okay, so here's how we do things. We go around basically. We start with me, I guess, and we'll work our way around. We pick Pokemon we believe should come off the list. And maybe if the person who put the Pokemon on the list or somebody that may have changed their mind or likes the Pokemon, they can argue why they think it should stay.
Okay.
So yeah, my first, I want to throw Aggron straight out first of all.
That's fine.
I think Aggron's a cool Pokemon. I think it's got a cool design. But overall, it never left an impression on me for any of my adventures throughout Hoenn. It's never been a Pokemon I've been bothered about using on my team. And I feel like there are better Pokemon on this list that can do better things. Like, for example, if you're looking for a Steel type, I feel like Metagross can just do it much better.
Yeah, I get that. That's absolutely fine. I'm quite happy with that. Aggron was sort of like a last choice, but I just picked him because he's quite a tanky boy.
Aggron, and design-wise, Aggron is cool. Like, his sprites and stuff are really neat. That whole line is neat like that. But it's quad weak to ground and to fighting.
Yeah.
Which honestly almost makes it unusable in a lot of ways, especially where it's so slow. That's the reason it didn't make my list. I gave it serious consideration, though. But I agree. I think that can drop.
That's fine.
Okay.
Sweet. So Aggron is gone.
Yep. Goodbye, Aggron. Okay, how about you, Matt?
I don't know. I'm really struggling with this one.
Yeah.
I mean, there is a Swalot on this list, Matt.
I mean, yeah, I'm probably going to go with that. I'm sorry, Anna.
No, it's totally fine. I think Swalot can not only go, but Cacturn probably can too. These are Pokemon whose design I love aesthetically, and when we say best, that's like best to me. As somebody who grew up with a father who paints, like the way something is presented or looks is really interesting to me and really appeals to me. But no one will argue that Swalot deserves a place next to Salamence when you're discussing the best, like objectively best Pokemon of Hoenn.
I don't know why I didn't put Salamence on my list, to be honest. I feel like it must have been a toss-up at some point, and it must have just missed out on. I remember looking at it quite a bit, but it must have just missed out being on my list. Swalot, though, I never even considered. I usually have something to say on every Pokemon that comes up on one of these lists. And it's not a bad thing, but I have nothing to say in defense of Swalot because I I have no feelings for a Swallow. I've never used one. I've never wanted to use one. It's one of those Pokemon that truly went over my head and never actually sort of came back from that.
It's a lot of fun to use, actually. It's pretty tanky, and you can run a pretty disruptive set on it, especially early game. But yeah, it can go straight off, and it can take its buddy Cacturn with it on the way out.
Sweet. Okay.
Are you sure?
Yeah.
Okay.
Cacturn was one of mine, but again, does not hold a torch to most, if not all, of the Pokemon on this list.
Nice. Okay, I agree. I do like a Cacnea, mostly based on your character Nick from BBR Adventures, Desperado. I really liked that Cacnea, and it kind of really brought me around on the Pokemon. But I still never really warmed up to Cacturn. I think I just liked how cute Cacnea was and how much of a cool little buddy Pokemon it would have been.
I mean, I obviously named my Cacturn or my Cacnea in BBR Adventures Desperado because it grows up to be a badass cowboy.
It definitely does. I nicknamed my Cacnea Kingpin just based on the little kind of crown, I don't even know what to call it, on its head. It looks like it has a little crown, and I was like, Dark type, yeah, he's a Kingpin.
Love it.
How many others do we need to drop off this list?
Okay, so we knocked 3 off just then, so we've got 13 left on the list, so 3 more.
Nice.
I can let Burnett go, personally. I think Burnett's a cool Pokemon. I really love its design. I love the origin, the lore of it, that it's a toy that's been abandoned by a child that came to life and kind of searches out for the Pokemon. I never saw it in a way that was malevolent or evil, though. When I thought about the Burnett that came to life, it was always more of a longing to be reunited as it was to get revenge. So I really came around on it. One of my sort of OC Pokemon characters had his starter wasn't Burnett, but it kind of is in a way because it's a toy that he lost when he was a child. So it was kind of like a double kind of starter kind of thing. And I really made me love Burnett as a Pokemon. And plus it has a cool Mega. But when you put it up next to any of these Pokemon on this list, except maybe Mawile, I could let Mawile go as well. But everything else, it just doesn't hold up.
I'm quite happy to let Burnett go.
Yeah, me too. Of the ghosts in existence, it's definitely not one of my personal favorites.
Fair enough.
That's fair. It does get Prankster, which is pretty cool, but only as a Mega, so I mean,
I mean, in that aspect, I think the other two that we should be looking at are Sableye and Mawile. Sableye is a really interesting Pokemon. It's got the no weakness thing going on. But in its debut generation, it's got some really great niche applications in gameplay, and it can be a little bit tanky in competitive, but it just isn't you carry your team material until it gets a Mega. And I don't think that that's enough to warrant it staying on against some of these other big actors. Kind of same thing with Mawile. Mawile is a really neat Pokemon. It's got a great Mega, and when it picks up Fairy typing, it's great. Yeah. But in Gen 3, I don't know so much.
Yeah, I agree. I think for both of these Pokemon, I love the Mega forms of both of these Pokemon. I especially love Sableye's Mega, though, because I love how, all these other Pokemon, they get bigger, they grow more arms, or, they just get huge. Sableye stays the same size and just gets a bigger gem and uses it as a shield, and I find that so endearing and so charming. It's unique completely in its Mega, I feel.
Sableye just wanted a shiny, and now it has one, a very big one, and it will hide behind it.
Yeah. I mean, the only way it could have been better if it got some Ampharos hair, the beautiful hairdo. I feel like a Sableye needs that. Or not.
I mean, the haircut was great. The additional dragon typing feels like it made it more vulnerable than anything else.
But we put Ampharos maybe even first, I think, didn't we?
We did, yeah. Ampharos was first.
In Gen 2, I think Yeah, we love Ampharos.
Ampharos was really great in Gen 2. That was a good call, you two.
Yeah, we were pretty proud of that one. We both picked it, and we were like, it has to be. Who can not have it? Okay. There was one Pokemon we all picked, didn't we?
There's two. Gardevoir and Melodic we both picked. And I think if we're going to pick a number one spot, I think we give it to Gardevoir. Gardevoir, okay, so history of Gardevoir here, it's notable for a lot of different reasons. Not only is it a really cool design and a good, like, all-around Pokemon, it is a fan favorite. It's no surprise that I love Gardevoir. I'm trans. Like, the design of Gardevoir being this kind of small boy-like Pokemon who grows up to, like, this beautiful, elegant woman. Great. It gets a split evolution later in Gallade, which is also fantastic. It gets a awesome fucking Mega. Like, Gardevoir is kick-ass.
I am more than happy to have Gardevoir top of this list.
Me too. Yeah, I feel like that is the one. When we went through the list of Gen 3 Pokemon, it was the first one to come up. I bet that all three of us were like, this one's on the list. Like, that was
For
it.
sure.
Like, there was no denying it. I think Swampert was the first one I picked, but I wasn't 100% sure on it the first go around through the list. Gardevoir, as soon as I saw it, I was like, this one's going on the list.
Yeah, and I think there's probably an argument for Swampert in 2 or 3. Like, the fact that it has remained... Not only is it incredible in Gen 3 gameplay, like, it is hands down the best starter in terms of, like, ease of use and rolling on through the gyms and viability. It's got a great, like, learn set, but it gets a great Mega Evolution with a different, entirely play style. Makes it this just baller rain sweeper. But it has remained a competitive staple since it was released.
Yeah.
Yeah, definitely.
I totally agree. I absolutely love Swampert. I think it's one of the coolest Pokemon. I'm not as keen on base Swampert, but Mega Swampert is one of the coolest designs I've ever seen on a Pokemon. Like, that was like what solidified it to be my starter in Omega Ruby. So yeah, I have to pick it. I love Swift Swim on it. I love how it just goes from being like this kind of like derpy little Swampert to be like, whoa, it gets like huge arms. It just gets ginormous. I love the idea of it. I think it's a great Pokemon. I'm happy to have it in slot 2 or 3. I mean, I guess we'll come back to it. We've got our 10 now, so how about I round off the 10 that we've got, and then we'll start working our way down from 10.
Yeah, that sounds good.
Awesome.
Okay, cool. So our top 10 Hoenn Pokemon at the moment are, in no particular order, Swampert, Gardevoir, Shedinja, Flygon, Altaria, Milotic, Metagross, Jirachi, Absol, and Salamence.
Awesome.
So, we've got to pick out one of these ones here that is the worst of the best. I think I know which one I want to put forward first.
Yeah, go for it.
I think Flygon should be the number 10 slot.
Yeah,
that's fair.
I feel like it's a really great Pokemon and it's a really great design, but I feel like it's kind of one of those Pokemon that missed out on a lot of opportunity. Like, it had a chance to shine and it didn't. I think its typing's really cool with Ground Dragon, but it's one of those Pokemon. It was meant to have a Mega Evolution, I think, in Auras, and they either ran out of time or they couldn't decide on a great design for it, and they ultimately decided not to give him one. And I feel like that has made the difference to me between it being the worst of the best and probably one of the best of the best.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, and it's also a situation, too, where while its typing is really neat, there's a bunch of Ground Dragon types in the Pokemon franchise, and that puts its direct comparisons to the 2 elephants in the room, or the 2 other big Durgens in the room, Garchomp and Zygarde, which are in fucking incredible.
Yeah, couldn't agree more. Garchomp just completely... Everybody forgot who Flygon was the moment Garchomp came into the fold.
Yeah.
It kind of stayed that way.
And it was immediately afterwards, basically.
Yeah, it was. It was a next gen. And Zygarde's just kind of made that gap even bigger as well. especially when it got all those different forms. Like you can get like 10% Zygarde, like complete Zygarde. There's so many different versions now that like just completely outclass Flygon, and it's really sad because I feel like Flygon could have had so much more and just ultimately didn't.
He's just been a bit let down.
Yeah. So Flygon, I love Flygon, but if we're looking, and if we're analyzing it with all these other Pokemon, I think it should be the number 10 slot.
That's fine. I'm more than happy with that.
Does that mean we're giving the number 9 slot to Co-Dragon Altaria?
Yes, I think so. This was the other one I was thinking. A Pokemon that, again, wonderful design, but kind of outclassed by so many other Pokemon. Its typing of like dragon flying is such a common one that so many other Pokemon, including Salamence in the same gen, just outclass it completely.
Oh yeah, and there's no physical special split yet either. So yeah, I agree. The Floof is great, the Mega is great, but within the context of Gen 3, probably not enough.
Take a minute to think about the Mega. Like, the Mega is amazing, but I mean, because we're talking mostly Gen 3, like, it was too little too late in a way. Once Megas became a thing, even giving it a fairy dragon typing, it just still wasn't good enough to... It was still outclassed by Salamence, let's be honest. Like, there are Pokemon that are just better in the same gen, and it's such a amazingly designed Pokemon that I one of my favorite designs for a Pokemon, but just, yeah, if we're looking at it competitively, it's just not enough.
Compared to what else we have here.
Yeah.
Agreed. So, what do you think for... What are we at, 8?
Yeah, we're on 8.
Absol?
I was thinking the same thing. Yeah, Absol.
Yeah, Absol is... I would agree as well. Number 8.
It's a cool Pokemon, but in Gen 3, it's not that great. Again, there's no physical special split yet, and that makes it mostly useless in terms of stab.
Because Dark typing's special in Gen 3. I only
it sure is.
From playing so much Gen 3 this month. It makes Dark type completely garbage on a lot of Pokemon.
Yeah, Absol is a cool design. It has a really neat and versatile Mega Evolution later, but in Gen 3, not that great in comparison to some of these other Pokemon.
Yeah, even a Sephiroth cat is still not enough. I don't know. It doesn't do it for me. I love Absol's design, but that is the start and end of that.
Yeah.
My appreciation for that Pokemon, to be honest.
That's fair.
All right. I've been recommending slots fast and loose. Somebody else pick one for slot 7.
Ooh.
Okay, Matt, what do you think for 7?
I don't know. I'm struggling with this because there are...
Can I tell you what I'm thinking?
Go for it.
For me right now, it's a toss-up between Shedinja and Milotic. Honestly, I'm open to somebody else's decision on that matter. But
if I had to pick between the two, I would pick Milotic because I think Shedinja deserves to be higher up.
Okay.
Yeah, I can live with that.
Yeah, okay. Especially, I feel like Shedinja, it has a lot going for it. Milotic also does, but like, I mean, they're both they're Pokemon that can be great, but not always. It is very situational. I feel like Milotic's got quite a lot of play in Gen 8 at the moment because it's quite versatile. Like, it moves like Recover.
Yeah.
Plus it's quite a bulky water type, so it has got some cool things going for it. But yeah, ultimately, sorry, go on.
No, all I was going to say is Milotic fills the niche of the bulky water really well. Like, it is the quintessential bulky water Pokemon. But largely its claim to fame is like how it evolved and like what it evolves from.
Yeah.
Like that in my opinion is what makes it stand out more so than its competitive stuff. But the argument here is also that Shedinja also falls into this category where there's no other Pokemon like Shedinja at all.
Yeah, it's true. I feel like these two Pokemon, although they are very, very different, they're also very, very similar. They're like the two Pokemon in Ruby, Sapphire, Emerald that, like, you feel like if you're in school, like, kids would be gossiping about rumors about on the playground. Like, oh, did you know there's this one Pokemon you can only catch on one route in certain tiles in the water you have to fish in, and then there's a low chance of getting it, and it's an ugly fish, and you have to raise its beauty stat, and then to get it to evolve into
who was the first person who figured that out? Like,
I know.
Somebody
what a wild
whose uncle
thing.
works at Nintendo, like that's for sure. It's man, it's so crazy. Same with Shedinja as well. Like, who worked it out that you needed a Pokeball and a spare slot in your party once your Nincada evolved into Ninjask? Like, there's such a cool idea that this little like shell that Nincada broke out of to become Ninjask gets possessed by a ghost and becomes its own Pokemon. It's got an amazing ability. It only has one hit point, and as we discussed earlier, you can exploit that if you're lucky enough.
Yeah.
But if not, like, you can get into situations where like it just can't be touched, and you can ultimately decide it can change the tide in a whole battle just based on the fact that like you have time to set up, for example, if you completely wall an opponent with it.
Yeah, and not to mention, like, if you do any kind of randomizer content, Wonder Guard is the bane of your existence if you're doing random abilities. The day you find little Jimmy with a Pokemon with one weakness, and it's got Wonder Guard.
I did not know that was a thing you could do in randomizers. I've never tried one, but that sounds terrifying.
I wiped a randomizer, like Let's Play on Twitch, coming up early in Kanto against like an Omastar with Wonder Guard, and I just had nothing.
Wow.
That was super effective against it, and we literally had a struggle off until I died.
Oh man, that's so sad. I actually really want to try a randomizer at some point, but just for the shenanigans, not so much for the playing to complete the game. I just want to see what comes up.
It's wild. The very first one I did, not to get super off topic, but the very first one that I did, I walked into the gym, and the gym leader had a Zapdos with Thunderbolt at like level 10 or something like that, and just completely mopped the floor with me. The second time I went in, they threw out a Magby, and I was like, oh, no problem. Let me send out the Squirtle to deal with it, and it exploded.
No.
Just swapped it right in, and it was like Magby uses explosion. I think there's a Twitch clip on my channel of that happening and me losing my mind.
I'm going to have to find that. That sounds great. Right, okay, so are we happy for Milotic to be number 7 and Shedinja to be number 6? Or
yes.
Do you feel like Shedinja? Yeah, okay. Okay, so the last 5 Pokemon that we've got left to rank are Swampert, Metagross, Jirachi, Salamence. Oh, and sorry, Gardevoir, but we already put that in number 1. So, yeah.
So, if we put Gardevoir in 1, let's count down. I think this is going to be a little easier than counting up with contenders like these.
Yeah, for sure.
Salamence only appeared on one of our lists, but I think that we have almost insulted Pokemon by not placing it in first. It probably needs to go in second.
I think so too. Yeah, the amount of times we've gone, Salamence just does it better. Salamence does this better. Like, yeah, it's clearly a very strong Pokemon. It's one that I feel like I've overlooked somewhat now. I wasted slots on Banette and Mawile because Salamence belongs here. Yeah.
Salamence, you can run a ton of sets on a Salamence. You can run it special, you can run it physical, you can run it with Dragon Dance. Like, it is a really good Pokemon. It has an absolutely broken Mega Evolution. Yeah, I think 2.
I've never really tried using a Salamence ever. I think my third slot for the Battle Tower in Emerald for my Ribbon Challenge is actually going to be a Salamence because it was a toss up between that and Slacking, and the fact that this Pokemon's on the list and Slacking isn't just, it says a lot to me. I feel like Salamence needs to be there.
Do it.
Okay. Yeah, agreed. Do we want to put Swampert in slot 3 then, for reasons previously discussed?
Yeah, I think so too. We've talked a lot about Swampert already. I feel like we'd just be reiterating what we said earlier. I think number 3 is good.
So that leaves us with the 2 Steel Psychic types.
It does. They're both the same type. I didn't even clock that. Yeah, so the slot 4 and slot 5 are a toss-up between Metagross and Jirachi. This is actually a hard one for me. I feel like I have a very big personal attachment to Jirachi. It was a Pokemon that I first discovered when I was quite young, and Gen 3 were the latest games. I went on holiday with my family to France, I think, maybe. We were staying on this campsite, and I made friends with some kids that were staying near us, like pitched up a tent near us, and one of them had a Jirachi that I'd never seen before. Like this Pokemon that I'd played through like hours and hours of Ruby, but I'd never seen this Pokemon. And I was so jealous, and I loved it, and it was such a cool, like, cute design Pokemon. Right at the end of the holiday, he traded me his Jirachi because he had the disc at home, which meant he could have a new one. He had the Pokemon Channel bonus disc.
Oh, that's really cool.
That's such a sweet story.
Yeah, so he was like, you can have this one. And I loved that Jirachi. I leveled it up. It was level 45 when I got it. I'll never forget. It had Wish, it had Doom Desire, it had Psychic, and it had, I think, Meteor Mash. I might be wrong, but it had something else, and I loved it. And I can't remember. No, I was going to say Future Sight, but that's pretty much what. Is it Doom Desire?
I'm not sure.
I can't remember.
It doesn't really matter. I think that you can give slot 4 to Jirachi. It is a mythical Pokemon. It has, it's the last of the base 100 stat mythicals.
It is? Oh.
I think so. I think they stopped doing that after Jirachi. I could be wrong. If I'm wrong, internet, don't at me.
I'm going to say Shaman gets it, but I could be wrong.
Well, we'll have to look it up for the future. But it makes it, my point is it makes it extremely versatile. You can build Jirachi a bunch of different ways. It has a pretty good typing. What's the name of its ability that increases the landing of...
Serene Grace?
Serene Grace. You can flinch people all the way to the grave.
I love that. I love it. Equip a King's Rock on it, Iron Head, just go crazy. Like, oh man, it makes people so angry. Rightly so, but like if you're the one using it, it's just the coolest thing. I think it's so great.
It's really good. I'm really comfortable with the idea of Jirachi in 4. It's also cute.
It's super cute, yeah. Okay, so I guess that means Metagross goes in slot 5. It's a Pokemon that I think I've always appreciated the design of, and I've always known it's a really powerful Pokemon. It's not really one I've often used until recently. Obviously, like I was saying earlier, with my Battle Tower run, I EV trained and leveled up a Beldum and all the way up to Metagross, and it's the first Pokemon I've slow EV trained, and I really appreciate it now. I think it's a really cool Pokemon, and it does some serious work as well.
I do really like Metagross.
Yeah, Metagross is really interesting from a design standpoint and like what it can do. And I mean, it's so iconic. It's not Stephen Strange.
It always comes to my head as well.
That's what pops into my head. Was it Stephen Stone?
Yeah, Stephen Stone.
I mean, that's his iconic Pokemon, right? And it's good. I don't know if it is as prolific as some of these other members of the team. It does have a great Mega, admittedly.
It does. It really does.
More arms.
And the shiny is better than the actual, original color, I think.
Yeah, I actually agree with you.
There's not very many I can say that with, but Metagross I can say with quite a lot of confidence. It looks better.
Matt, you good with those lock-ins?
I'm very happy with those.
Okay, so that means we're done. That was a very, very smooth decision-making process, which I wasn't expecting to be quite so easy with 3 people as well. I think we all argued some good points here. So let me run down the list of the 10, starting from number 10 with Flygon, number 9 with Altaria, number 8 is Absol, number 7 is Milotic, number 6 is Shedinja, number 5 is Metagross, number 4 is Jirachi, number 3 is Swampert, number 2 is Salamence, and number 1 is Gardevoir. I think we did it, guys. We did a great job.
I'm very happy with this.
I'm very happy with this list too.
Great. Okay, cool. And that is the end of the episode. So, guys, what have you got planned for the next month in terms of Pokemon?
Go, Matt. You go.
Oh, thank you. I was just about to say I have no idea. Probably just play Go a little bit more on the way to and from work. Other than that, not much. How about you, Anna?
Nice.
I I think it's going to depend. I'm applying for a job today. If I get it, my plans will change. But if I am still unemployed, I will be playing Pokemon Crystal once I finish Yellow over on my Twitch channel. And I will probably be playing around with the new DLC when it comes out in June.
Oh yeah,
Oh,
definitely.
yes.
I'm definitely gonna be playing the DLC, which we must be getting a trailer for soon. I'm really excited.
I hope so.
I'm gonna be trying to carry on my ribbon journey, trying to get through that battle tower, get myself a Salamence. I'm gonna carry on playing Black 2 as well because I've only just started that game, but I'm looking forward to kind of getting back into that again. I have been quite tempted to get into the manga lately. I've spoken to a few people that really vouch for the manga and say it's really good. And it's one piece of Pokemon media I've never really paid much attention to, so it could be a new avenue to go down, I guess.
Nice.
You'll have to let us know how that goes.
Yeah.
Yeah, I will. I'll let you guys know in a month exactly what I think of the manga. Right, anyway, Anna, would you like to plug anything before we wrap up this episode?
Oh my goodness, I probably should, right? Some of you are probably familiar with me from when I was here as Tanner last time, but you can totally find me on Twitter, the Twitterverse, as at incidentally Anna, A-N-A. And if you want to follow my other podcast, the One for All podcast, My Hero Academia Rewatch and Review, you can check that out on Twitter at One for All Cast.
Nice.
I'm losing my mind over here. There was a huge fun note here at the end. There was a huge fiasco with us when we were launching and Twitter cutting off half of our handle name because it was too long and not telling us. So we gave people the wrong Twitter handle for 12 episodes. It was great.
No.
Oh no! I suppose because you guys record so far in advance, it was like too late at that point.
Yeah, we had no idea till we actually launched.
Oh, that's that's so sad.
Ouch.
But at least you guys have got it pretty much nailed down now. It's good.
Yes, definitely.
Okay, so if you guys want to contact us, send us an email at pokemonpayday@gmail.com. Let us know what your top 10 Hoenn Pokemon are and get at us. Tell us what you liked and didn't like about our list, what you think we missed, what you agree with. You could do that over on Twitter or Instagram at Pokemon Payday on both, or let us know through email and we'll read it out on the show. We're really looking forward to hearing from you guys. Anyway, thank you so much, Matt, and thank you so much, Anna, for coming on and doing this with me.
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you for having me. It's always a great time when I get to hang out with you guys, especially since there's such a huge time difference between us. It's always a treat.
Yeah, it really is. It's great to have you on as well. It's been way, way, way too long since we had you on Payday.
Yeah, thanks for coming back on.
Yeah, anytime.
Right, anyway, this has been another episode of Pokemon Payday, and we will see you in a month. Our next episode will be on, just getting the calendar up on my computer, the last Friday of the month, which is the 26th of June.
Nice.
So we'll see you in 4 weeks.
Awesome. Thanks very much, guys.
Great. Thank
Take
you
it
very
easy.
much. Bye.